Welcome to the Inspire to Invest podcast, where we're sharing inspiring stories from business owners, entrepreneurs, and real estate investors on the pursuit of wealth and financial freedom. This episode of the Inspire to Invest podcast has been brought to you by the REI Loop. Hey everybody, welcome to Inspire to Invest. I have Stephen Predmore from Talbot Investments here with me from Baltimore, Maryland. He is a full-time engineer and he started investing in single-family homes, and he quickly realized their limitations and shortcomings. He pivoted to multifamily and other bigger deals by investing in other people's projects, and now he helps to find, fund, and manage his own. He currently has approximately 200 units, which are a mix of joint ventures and syndications, along with self-storage units in Texas. And he balances his W-2 income and investing while giving people tips on how they can also get started. So thank you for being here today. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on your podcast, Serena. Happy to be here and to share and potentially inspire some other full-time folks, maybe some other engineers that are looking to get started and figuring out how can I get started investing in real estate.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things is that there's so many options right now. It's hard to know what's best. Where do I go? What do I consider to focus on, right? So,
Sure.
in terms of your own journey, maybe you can take us back to the beginning since you are, not necessarily doing this full time. So you have your career. Where exactly did real estate come into the picture for you?
I think like a lot of people, me and my wife started watching HGTV on, early 90s. I don't want to date myself, but we started maybe we should flip a property, maybe. But it was, we had two young kids, and just the hurdle of just the first one's always so scary. It's always
Yeah.
so scary. Um, and just never could do it, never could figure out a way to do it. Then I really started listening to Bigger Pockets. I want to say that's kind of my biggest aha moment, and just
Yeah.
just kind of soaking that up for, to and from work. Whenever I was in the car, it was Bigger Pockets you,
Yeah.
and really got some ideas on how to kind of tackle that first deal.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a full-time engineer, and I've had a couple companies in the past, so I was able to tap into some of that retirement money.
Yeah.
Um, I took a loan against it, and that's how I got started.
Nice. Yeah, I find that that's definitely such a great resource. And maybe going back 10 or 15 years ago, podcasts weren't quite what they are
Sure.
today. So obviously there's no shortage of information. And I had the chance to connect with Beardy Brandon on through my
Oh,
mastermind
wow.
actually. So he was one of our expert speakers. So they'll come in, talk about their whole process, and then, we've got the chance to ask questions and stuff. And he really shed light on the fact that as they're acquiring, because of how you build your management fee into it, you actually have to keep on acquiring because you need
Yeah.
that management fee to keep your team going and stuff like that. And obviously there will be opportunities to make money once the buildings are stabilized and stuff like that. But it was just interesting hearing his perspective. And I think that's maybe where some people have run into issues early on is that they didn't build in that management fee appropriately. So it's like obviously you need to be paying yourself if this is something that you're focusing on and dedicating your time. But it was really interesting just to hear about, his perspective and his growth trajectory and how at the end of it, he's like, I just want to give it to charity and teach my kids to do this. It's like
Yeah.
imagine building up a company that has, 10,000 doors or 20,000 doors, and then at the end of it, it's just you give it all away, right? So I found that really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely a hero and inspiration. I look up to him a lot. I still follow him. He's got a new podcast. I kind of started similar to him. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that, but I started in the single family game. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, which is a very low price point and high cash flow.
Yeah. So what does
Um,
that look like? Because I'm in an area
sure.
that's a total opposite. So it's very, very high price point and almost no cash flow.
So Baltimore, there's lots of properties for 50, $60,000. I think there's the
Wow.
latest estimate was there's like 17,000 boarded up houses in Baltimore.
Oh
So
my
there's a
gosh.
lot of distress.
Yeah.
A lot of those deals I would never touch. And in fact, being in Maryland, I won't touch them ever again. I kind of learned my lesson. I ended up buying two single families here in Baltimore. Just to give you some numbers, they were around $65,000 each. I put about 40,000 of rehab into them,
Yeah.
and ended up renting them for like 14, $1,500. So they definitely meet the 1% rule. Uh, but that 1% was a lot of freaking work.
Yeah.
And I busted my butt. and it was C class, maybe C minus type neighborhood. It was during COVID initially,
Yeah.
and it got rehab really quick. The crews were all of a sudden out of work. Everybody had canceled their contracts. So anyway, we got rehab really done. I got a tenant in there.
Yeah.
She was great for the first 6 months until she lost her job. And being in a very blue state of Maryland, I couldn't evict her. I couldn't get her out.
Yeah.
And that was a huge, lesson learned. So I decided to go the Section 8 route with that same property. So
Yeah.
I just, you convert that property to Section 8, and all of a sudden, I'm getting Uncle Sam to pay for a bulk of the rent. That
So
went
I'm aware of
okay
that
as
just
well.
because of other people I've interviewed. But for anyone that is listening, especially because we're like, I'm in Canada, people might be like, what is a Section 8? Like, maybe you can just shed light on exactly what that is.
Sure, it's just a government-backed subsidy. Typically the tenant pays 20 to 30% of the rent.
Yeah.
It's usually a function of their income, and that the government's portion comes on the first every month like clockwork. It's great,
Yeah.
but then my tenant even struggled with that last $400,
Yeah.
which was very frustrating. So they're even though that was their only rent, they were still falling behind.
Well, I mean, but
Uh,
at least then, you've got the big chunk of it that is coming in. Like, how would
correct.
you get your property approved for something like that? Is just something as simple as applying, or like what's the process in terms of
Yeah. So
not only applying,
just
but
as
for your tenant and the tenant needs?
So yes, I applied, and they're totally looking for I think there's a backlog of like 10,000 people or something like that. I know my tenant had been waiting for 11 years to
Oh,
get a Section 8 thing. So she was very, you know, I mean, the first day I listed it, I probably got like 30 hits.
yeah,
So it was just a matter of kind of going through those and finding the best one.
right.
A lot of single families or single parents with kids.
Yeah,
Um, so that's how they did it. And then yes, there was additional inspection, just some rules that they have.
yeah. So then how did you kind of parlay over then into multifamily? Like what was your steps involved in that? I know that in your bio we talked about joint ventures and syndications and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I can see why that's popular for people that have the money but maybe not the time that they want to go into those situations as limited partners or whatever that is. But for your own deals, like how have you found that process?
How did I find it? So I joined a mastermind. After my two single families, I said, there's got to be a better way. I'm just killing myself. We had somebody leave, so there was another turn and it was more damage, and I was just like, there's got to be a better way. And yeah, I joined a multifamily mastermind,
Yeah,
and just started being around other people that had kind of been through the steps that I had been through.
yeah,
They'd all done the single family game and kind of taken their bruises and said, let's do this smarter. And yeah, it's been mind shattering, like how great it is to be around other people that see that. And now that I'm in these masterminds, there's lots of deals. There's lots of
yeah,
people that have deals, and bigger deals mean more people involved.
yeah,
So you don't just need to be the guy finding it, or there's asset management, there's capital raising, there's lots of things to do for these bigger deals. So I've found a lot of people that I've hooked up with, and we've done several, like you said, JV deals.
yeah.
I've done some LP syndications. I've done some co-GP deals as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find that that's within my mastermind, my community as well. There's a lot of people that, I think some of them have the bigger regret that they just didn't go bigger sooner because,
Hmm.
one person had explained it a great way. Is just when you have a single family home, think about all your different expenses, but you're relying on one source of income. And with multifamily, there's less leaks because you could have 12 units or 100 units or something like that. And if somebody's moving out or doesn't pay rent for a little while, it's a non-event because you're able to cover yourself with all of the other maybe more dependable tenants, right? And
Yeah.
just even covering larger expenses and stuff like that. But it obviously comes with, a different level of expertise because then you're involving securities lawyers. At least for us here in Canada, like there's very strict parameters around how many limited partners that are generally acceptable. Like I think our limit's typically 50 on a deal before you have to get an exempt market dealer involved. So I don't know what that's like necessarily in the United States, but obviously there are just some things you've got to be very careful of here so you don't run in any hot water with the Securities Commission.
That is correct. Yeah, we have 506B deals where you can have up to 35 sophisticated investors.
Right.
But yeah, again, that would all that talk would have scared the bejesus out of me, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's just being around other people, and it's like, oh, we have securities lawyers, we have people who just hire this guy at the scale.
Yeah.
So these
Yeah.
things don't scare me anymore, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's always scary the first time, right?
Sure,
Now, when
sure.
you look back at your portfolio and where it is today, what would you say is something that you feel like you're most proud of?
Most proud of, I want to say the most proud of was getting into the mastermind, honestly, because the deal flow is nonstop. I've met some great folks that um, I have unlimited deals, I would say.
Yeah.
So that in itself, it's more of a matter of like, well, do I have money or do I have time? The deals are there,
Yeah.
especially now. There's a lot of distress in the market.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my first deal was a JV deal in Anchorage, Alaska. Again, I'm in Maryland. So that tells you the power of the mastermind. Again, I was looking for smaller deals and I was looking for red states.
Okay.
Being in Maryland, I really got burned, and I wanted to invest in red states. So
So by red states,
now,
you mean more landlord friendly. Okay.
landlord friendly, yeah, they vote
Okay.
they vote red.
Yeah.
So Alaska, I'm in Texas, I'm in Florida, I'm in North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio, those types of things.
Yeah, yeah, I always find that really interesting. And we've got the same thing here. Like my province is not only very, very expensive, like the average single family home, and it is depressed a little bit now, but I'm going to say like around 1 million is the average just for a single family home. Like nothing crazy. It could even be a townhouse. And then you're also looking at very, very strict landlord tenant laws. So it's very challenging to get people out. It could take anywhere from 8 months to 2 years, depending on the
Oof.
circumstances. So you can
Wow.
imagine having a non-payment of rent situation where there are other provinces like New Brunswick tends to be really popular for us here, where you could buy, say a sixplex for a couple $100,000, but you could have your tenants out pretty quickly, like within a week or something like that. And Alberta's typically pretty landlord friendly as well. So yeah, you got to know where
Great.
you're investing and just not be afraid to go where you need to go, right?
Yep.
So in
Yep.
terms of challenges, what would you say are some of the biggest obstacles that you've faced as you continue to grow and scale and diversify?
Again, my biggest challenge was when my tenants stopped paying rent, and I I kind of wanted to learn the process, like Beardy Brandon always says, like you want to be the property manager initially just to learn the ropes. And I kind of took that advice and I did. So I went down to the courthouse. I tried to evict them. I did the posting. Um, and it was just so frustrating. Like whatever technicality, things get delayed a month or 2 months.
Over again.
And I realized that, there's better people because I saw other landlords had hired, professional people to handle these things because who wants to be sitting at a courthouse at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a work day? So, I got to take time off. So that was my biggest learning experience was just trying to go through the eviction process and just
Yeah.
getting burned so badly.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard here that sometimes people could wait 10 months for their hearing and then something could be wrong, like a date or something like very
Hmm.
insignificant, and literally they have to start the whole process over again, right? So I think there is
That's correct.
value, even if it costs money, like you're waiting on that money, but at the same time hiring a paralegal or hiring someone that specializes in that, knows the ropes, probably knows the people at the courthouse, can
Right.
get things done quicker and more efficiently for you so that you can put
Yep.
this behind you.
Yep.
Now, in terms of lessons, obviously being part of a mastermind, I'm sure you're surrounded by lots of people doing lots of interesting things. What would you say are some of the best takeaways or lessons that you've learned going through that experience?
Just get on the phone, calling brokers, get out of your comfort zone. Stop thinking that it's a big deal. We have mastermind meetups, and literally it's just like, okay, open up your phone, look at your contacts,
Yeah,
and just start calling and just kind of getting over that. That's the inspiration that I need as an engineer, maybe not wanting to do that.
yeah,
So just calling brokers, contacting brokers, always be in touch.
yeah,
Also, one of the biggest things that I learned from the mastermind was being out there on social media and attraction marketing and kind of just posting what you're doing, what you're investing in. Maybe you're looking at a deal that didn't go so good or pan out. document that. Why didn't it work out? So people are interested in these types of things. So that's another huge bonus that comes out of a mastermind is resources for social media enhancement, those types of things.
Yeah.
I recently hired a VA that was purely because of the mastermind. Said, why are you wasting your time posting on Facebook? There's people that you can hire that are much better at this. That you're still working your W-2.
Yeah.
Hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Check.
I was talking to someone recently that I met her in April or May. She actually didn't even have an Instagram account. And she started one, but she hired someone that really specializes in it. And she's kind of gone, a particular route with it. But I think she's grown to like 30,000 followers just in the last 6 months. But it's a combination of just how she's kind of putting out that content. It's all like very short lessons, like 3 ways to stay broke or 5 things rich people do. And like just these really tight, short clips as if you're talking to a friend and getting advice and stuff like that. But however he's doing it, and it's, might even have a 1-sentence caption or something like that. But it's really crazy engagement. Some of her posts have gone viral or 600,000 or 700,000 views and stuff like that, where she'd started on her own. Like, it can obviously take a lot longer. So that's something that she's investing in. And I think maybe it's around a $1,200 per month spend, but it's obviously going to add very significant credibility. So when she does start presenting deals and stuff like that, she's already built up this audience that knows, likes, and trusts her, right? So I think it's a very smart strategy depending on what your focus is.
Yeah, and you certainly can do it less than $1,200 a month. I mean, I'm hiring somebody that's $4 an hour. So it's, you can take it as much as you want it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just scratching the surface with just some postings, but yes, I could see where you could start spending more on video production and that type of stuff. And so
I think that's for
it doesn't have to be huge.
The posting. Yeah, it doesn't have to be maybe that, but again, just for the growth trajectory that she has had and the success with her engagement and stuff like that has been really significant. So yeah, it's interesting to see like the way that things have evolved in that space. But on that note, we're just going to take a really brief break for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
There's no denying that real estate is one of the tried and true ways to grow your wealth. But if you don't have access to the right systems or software, you could run into issues from the very beginning. If this sounds like you, then you have to check out the REI Loop. This is the ultimate tool for real estate investors. It's loaded with deals, resources, and so much more. This platform will help you streamline acquisitions and dispositions and give you access to a powerful CRM to manage all of your relationships with clients, potential clients, and suppliers. You can take advantage of a free trial, or better yet, they have an offer of $99 a month. Check them out at The REI Loop on social and thereiloop.com. The REI Loop is your go-to platform for everything related to real estate and real estate investing. Grow a portfolio to give you the financial freedom and long-term legacy that you're after. Again, go to thereiloop.com and give them a follow at The REI Loop.
Welcome to the Wealth Club, an exclusive community dedicated to elevating your journey towards financial freedom, well-being, and success. The journey to 1% starts here. Join like-minded leaders and commit to growth for the mind, body, bankroll, and soul. Learn all the proven techniques to change your life forever with direct access to a massive team of more than 10 tried and true experts. Moreover, members enjoy priority access to investment opportunities, job openings, and partnerships within the community. For just $1 a day, members gain entry to specialized forums covering a wide spectrum of fields. Discover diverse income streams, new opportunities, collaborations, and employment. Partake in weekly Zoom calls with our team and join monthly live Q&A sessions. Compete and win cash prizes. Active members top the leaderboard for monthly rewards. Ready to get started? Join today to unlock your true potential. To sign up, go to school.com/The Wealth Club. I value transparency, integrity, and trust. If you choose to work with me, you can be assured that business will be conducted honestly and openly. Time is of the essence in this industry, so you can expect nothing short of quick, clear communication from me. I'll keep you informed every step of the way so you feel comfortable throughout this entire process. Our homes are where we eat, sleep, relax, and play. My clients' best interests are at the heart of everything I do. And with this said, my service to you doesn't end when the transaction does. As your realtor, I'll not only help you buy and sell your property, I'll also educate and support you along the way. I want to help you fulfill your goal of home ownership and become your trusted real estate resource for life. I can't wait to share my passion for real estate with you. More importantly, find you the perfect house to turn into your home. Looking to buy, sell, or invest in Durham Region or Toronto? Let's chat. Inspired to Invest is proud to support the Beyond Success program. In today's complex world, it's absolutely crucial for our youth to learn how to take charge of their financial future. We believe that every young person deserves access to accurate, practical financial information. Designed to bridge the gap, the Beyond Success program leverages a comprehensive educational bootcamp to equip young minds with essential financial literacy skills. At Beyond Success, it's not just about teaching financial literacy, it's also about fostering a foundation for a prosperous and empowered future. Join us. Together we can build a brighter financial future for the next generations. Join us. Together we can build a brighter financial future for the next generations. Hey everybody, welcome back to Inspired to Invest. I've got Stephen Predmore with me today from Talbot Investments, and we're talking about how he started out with an engineering career, and he's still working hard in that space, but he also started dedicating some of his additional funds to single-family homes and now moving into multifamily as well as storage space. And before the break, we talked a lot about, some of those challenges and successes that you've experienced so far. But one thing I always like to ask is, what's the craziest thing that you've ever experienced? And maybe that could be different from the tenant that you ran into some issues with.
Oh boy, I was going to go there. Trying to think of another crazy story. Same house. Yeah, same house. The day one, again, this is March of 2020, right when COVID started. So I went there. I was a brand new owner, and I had my keys, and I opened the door, and I started walking around this vacant house, and I realized I had a squatter in the house.
Oh, great.
And it scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
And so I immediately called the police. This is day one of owning a house. I'm calling the police, waiting in my car, just praying that this
But
works
what would
out.
you have said? Like when you walk in, like,
I just heard
hey.
somebody they were upstairs sleeping. I heard them
Oh, gosh.
wrestling around, and I looked in the kitchen, and somebody had been cooking in the kitchen. And so luckily the police were able to get them out, which I was happy about because, squatters certainly can have rights.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know anything about anything. So I was just praying that they would get them out, and they did. So that was pretty scary day one.
That's scary. I had someone actually that reached out to me to do a CMA, and they wanted me to go by the house, but then they're like, you can't go by the house because I showed up and there's squatters everywhere. And she sent me some pictures, and this is really just probably a month or two ago. And this is like 5 minutes from my house. So it's something that I can't even imagine happening where I live. Like I'm in a suburb. It seems kind of quiet and safe, but I guess this house had been vacant for a little while, and a few people came in and took over. So it definitely happens.
Yeah. Did you have problems getting them out? Did you have to call the
Well,
police?
I didn't have to worry about it. I was just going to go in and do a comparative market analysis for them
Oh, I see.
because
I
they
see.
needed
Okay.
somebody else to do it. Like they have their real estate license also, but because it was for family, they needed someone third party to come in and do it. But I didn't end up going in. So I assume hopefully she got it resolved, but you just never know. Now, in terms of advice, I know that you have talked at length about this mastermind. Would you say that there's any advice that you've really taken to heart that maybe you wish you knew sooner, or you feel like is really powerful for somebody that's new, that's just getting started in this space?
Yes, I do. And I have two kids, and one son just finished college, and he's kind of trying to find his way. And I'm really trying to get him involved in real estate. The earlier the better. And one quote that I love, it's don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. And he's 23 years old, and if I could have done that and just bought a duplex and house hacked and just started so early, time is on your side. And so that's one quote that I'd love to share.
Yeah, no, that's a powerful one as well. I think there's so many things that if I knew now what I knew then, like there was just things that I would have done very differently. Like I remember going to an event in 2018 and standing up, and my one question to the owner in front of 5,000 people is like, I'm mortgage free. I actually have a decent amount of money in the bank, but it's very hard to qualify for financing. And the answer should have been multifamily or commercial because the property qualifies, not you. And I think he was like, just talk to your coach or something. And I ended up going and buying like two pre-construction properties, like a condo that I sold on assignment, and then a single family home that I long-term tenanted. But I think back, had I known then more about multifamily, if it had been maybe a little bit more widely discussed back then, like I would probably still have that and be building upon that now. But because I made other decisions, like I'm
kind of in a different space at this point in time. And I'm like, you can't go back and change it. But there's just so many things that I think, especially starting out young and being able to instill that in your children or to people around you is just going to change their life. So,
Right. Yeah.
in terms of what's next for you, so you obviously have, these 200 plus units in your self-storage. What would you say is an area that you're focusing on, and where do you hope to continue to take things to?
I like smaller JV deals. I like to be a little bit closer to the action than a typical syndication
Yeah.
would give you. I like the thrill of the hunt. I like, finding the deals and negotiating and figuring out how we can take this down, how we're going to structure the debt. That's really what I want to do. Not saying I'm not going to continue to do LP syndications as well, just with some other partners, but that's really where I want to go. Smaller JV deals, like 20 to 50 units
Yeah.
in red states that we can do value add. I'm not looking for new development. That's
Yeah.
a little too risky for me at this point. I like the existing property, and I just want to make it better.
Yeah.
Bump the rents. That's my plan.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Now, in terms of how real estate investing has changed your life, what does that look like for you in terms of time and freedom, or is it something that's still a work in progress?
Work in progress. Yeah, well, I've graduated from single families. So when I was doing single families, I was burning the candle at both ends, as far as, straight from my W-2 to the rental. Now that I'm more focused on bigger deals, it's more just kind of calling brokers and following up people, following up investors, more
Yeah.
social media posting. So that's kind of how I've shifted. And I'm happy for that because I don't want to do single families anymore. I'm done with that. I feel like I've graduated.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's smart. Now, do you have any other, parting wisdom that you'd like to leave for anyone that's tuning in, either watching or listening right now?
Sure, I'll quote one of my favorite guys, Jim Rohn. I heard this many years ago, and I still think it's very valuable. It's don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And of course, thank you for being here today. For anyone that wants to get in touch to learn more about your opportunities or just maybe pass along some wisdom, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Sure. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for asking. Talbot Investments is my website. You can reach out to me there. I'm also available and active on LinkedIn. Lots of content there, podcasts, episodes, blogs, and deals that we're working on. And you can sign up for our list. There's a free download for anybody interested in learning how to get into the passive investing game and maybe wanted to figure out how to do that. There's a download for you there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for spending your time with us today. And of course, for anyone that is watching or listening, we appreciate your time as well. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe below. You can also follow along on social at Inspired to Invest Podcast. And remember, when you invest in yourself, the sky's the limit. Thanks again. Thank you to the REI Loop for bringing you this episode of Inspired to Invest. The views represented on this podcast are for general information only and does not constitute investment or other professional advice or an offering of securities. The host and guests featured on Inspired to Invest make no representations as to the performance of any particular investment. Should you decide to make an investment, you are responsible for conducting your own review and analysis. It is recommended that you obtain independent legal, accounting, and tax advice from licensed professionals.